Hello and welcome back to Mondo Musings. I'm your presenter Nick Carter McLean with another edition of Collegiate Countdown. Now a well-earned weekend off for regulars like Baylor's Akira Nugent, Oregon's Kemba Nelson, Texas Tech's Demisha Roswell, and Clemson's LaFrance Campbell opened the door for a number of new names to feature on this installment of the Countdown. Without further ado, here's this week's roundup of the top 10 performances from last weekend by Jamaican athletes competing on the NCAA track and field circuit. Loping into the countdown at number 10 this week, thanks to a smart 1:48.80 clocking for 800 meters at the Mayo Invitational, is former Racines High and current Western Illinois University half-miler Akeen Colley. The 9th spot, meanwhile, sees a debut for LSU's Kenroy Higgins, who flew to a season's best 6:66 for 60 meters at almost 5,000 feet in Albuquerque. The one-time UCLA Bruin who got his feet wet in the 100 at Jamaican Nationals last year had earlier run 6:69 to qualify from his heat. Syracuse's Jaheim Hales, another fast-rising first-timer, races into the mix at number 8 after rattling off a brand spanking new PB of 7:75 in the 60 hurdles at the Dr. Sander Invitational Columbia Challenge meet. The New Jersey native's mark comfortably bettered his previous lifetime best of 7.80 seconds, which he done to capture the National Junior College title for Iowa Central Community College in March of last year. Lady Longhorn Kevona Davis's PB tying 7:25 60-meter dash at the New Mexico Collegiate Classic sees her make the first of 2 appearances at 7. One spot higher, in 6th, we find ex-St. Jago and Kingston College sprint hurdling ace Vashaun Vascianna, who kicked off a dominant debut weekend on the NCAA track and field stage for Texas Tech with a cracking 7:70 clocking in his 60 hurdles heat at the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. A 2093 PB over 200 meters has LSU's Kenroy Higgins returning to the countdown at number 5. Speaking of returnees, there's another at number 4, in the form of the superlatively talented Vashaun Vascianna, who sliced 600ths off a second from his prelim time of 7:70 in the following final at the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. Even with a slight upward adjustment to account for Albuquerque's rarefied air, the World Junior 110-meter hurdle silver medalist is already breathing down the necks of the very best in the U.S. college ranks. Third spot this week goes to Texas A&M's Cherokee Young, who ensured that her first individual 400 of the season was well worth the long wait, with a swift 52 flat finish at the Charlie Thomas Invitational. The former Heidel starlet is currently in a tie for second on the season's performance list with the gifted Talitha Diggs of Florida, who she could come face-to-face with at the SEC Indoor Championships in just over 2 weeks' time. Doubling back at number 2 is ex-Edwin Allen leading light Kevona Davis, who returned a time of 23:17 in her section of the Women's Invitational 200 meters at the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. To emphasize the strength of the group with which Davis now trains, the 3 in front of her were all Lady Longhorns. And at number 1 is a promising 23:14 200-meter performance from yet another Lady Longhorn, Stacey-Ann Williams, in the second invitational section in Albuquerque. The fast second-place finish marked a more than half a second improvement over the 23:66 best done at the Tyson Invitational in 2021, with which the Stets graduate had entered the meet in New Mexico. And that's how we close out this edition of The Countdown. Now, a full slate of top-tier meets is in the offing for this coming weekend as U.S. collegians gear up for Conference Championship Week. Among the biggies on the board for Friday and Saturday are the Tyson Invitational, hosted by the Razorbacks of Arkansas, the Texas Tech Shootout, and Clemson's Tiger Paw Invitational, which should again feature the school's huge contingent of Jamaican athletes. Hundreds of athletes will also take their talents to the cold climes of Albuquerque, New Mexico for the Don Kirby Elite Invitational. Meanwhile, the likes of Oregon are slated to hit the track at the Wisconsin Badgers hosted Windy City Invite in Chicago. All being well, I'll be back with another review at the same time next week. Thanks as always for tuning in. Until next time, Godspeed.